Today they meet the Baltimore Ravens and come face to face with the NFL's best defense and an offense now under Trent Dilfer that has survived their lean streak and begun to spread its wings.
You're playing against one of the best. Let's play like the best and knock out the best. Today, on three. 1, 2, 3. Today. All I want to know is, what time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. And those in the house. And those in the house. What time is it? Game time.
Well, it's pretty obvious that both teams are ready to play. The Baltimore Ravens entertain the Dallas Cowboys at PSI Net Stadium. Pat Summerall here with John Madden, and the #1 defensive unit in the NFL faces the Cowboys today. How will they attack this Baltimore defense?
Well, you know, it's going to be tough. I mean, the first thing they have to do is they have to eliminate stupid penalties and turnovers. I mean, they can't have any of that today. And then the reason that Baltimore is so good on defense is because they do everything well. I mean, there's no area that you can say, well, you can run against them, you can pass against them. You really can't do any one thing. So therefore, you have to do a lot of things. You have to have mixture. And Emmitt Smith is going to have to run. Chris Warren is going to have to run. But I think the big thing is going to be Troy Aikman. I think that he has to have a big day. I mean, eventually they're going to have to take advantage of that secondary, and Troy Aikman is going to have to throw the ball if they're going to have a chance today.
Baltimore's offense, on the other hand, went through some very, very lean periods. Now they have Trent Dilfer at quarterback, the ex-Tampa Bay Buccaneer. What about Trent?
Well, you know, one thing, they're not going to score a lot of points, or they haven't, but Trent Dilfer has a lot of confidence now, and you can just see the confidence he has, and you can see the confidence that the players have in him. You talk to him, and he's going to look for Shannon Sharpe all day. You talk to Shannon Sharpe, and he says, Trent Dilfer is our guy. Now, that's their offense, but the real strength of this team is their defense.
Coming up, the Cowboys take on the NFL's best defense. John and I will be back.
But if we want to be the best at what we're trying to get done, we got to shut this team out. All right? We can't have breakdowns in the fourth quarter. We got to communicate and think mentally.
Welcome you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to Baltimore, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with Ravens head coach Brian Billick. Coach, your defense reads like a who's who of NFL stars. Ray Lewis, Peter Boulware, Rod Woodson, Michael McCrary. Can you identify your offense and tell us what they have to get done today to be successful?
Well, we've got to balance our attack, both throwing the ball and running the ball. They got some people offensively now, too, that are going to the Hall of Fame, so it's going to test our defense.
Well, we heard that the Kangaroo Court was in session this week for players who violated the P-word policy. Can you tell us, were there any violators and were there any punishments handed down?
No, this team's focused on one thing, and that's beating the Dallas Cowboys.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Hey, Pat and John, for a team so eager to get back to the playoffs or to get to the playoffs for the first time, you know guys are going to find a way to get around it. One guy says play, the other guy says off, and they leave it up to your imagination from there. Back to you.
I can make playoffs out of that.
Yeah.
28 consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher, the longest active streak in the NFL, and there's some of them, and those are some pretty good names when you run down that list.
And today they're going to see a heavy dose of Emmitt Smith, aren't they?
Yep.
This is exciting. This is a great place. This is the first time we've been here, but this stadium and this team and this crowd, this is a lot of fun.
Priest Holmes and Corey Harris back deep for the Ravens, and that's Barry Cantrell.
Kicking his first NFL football.
He was with the Cowboys in training camp. Familiar with the system. If he needs to be, all he has to do really is kick it. I don't know how you get familiar with that system.
I don't know what system you have to have. Just line up 10 yards away from the ball, run at it, and thump it.
And it's a short thump down to the 15 where Corey Harris has it. And Harris breaks about 3 tackles, but you saw the flags go flying by, and this is going to be against the Ravens, I'm sure. Referee is Jeff Triplett.
We all remember Jeff Triplett.
We do.
When you say flags flying in the air.
Number 50, the return team, 10-yard penalty.
First down.
One of his flags was an errant flying flag, wasn't it?
Right.
Here's the Baltimore offense up front. Jonathan Ogden, one of the very best. Mulatalo, the rest. And the backs and receivers, Sam Gash at fullback. Jamal Lewis, number 31. Dilfer. Ismail. And let's check out the Dallas defense. The front four, Ellis, Noble, Myers, and Spellman. The linebackers, Coakley, Baron Wortham, Darren Hambrick. And the secondary, Ryan McNeil and Felipe Sparks. The corners, Darren Woodson and Izell Reese instead of George Teague at safety. 2nd and 5. 2 tight ends set up for the Ravens. Dilfer gives to Jamal Lewis. Nothing score. First offensive series for the Ravens. Somehow it seems like you ought to be calling them the Colts, but that hasn't been true in a long time. Like to welcome those of you who saw the Vikings beat Carolina 31-17. We're in Baltimore at PSI Net Stadium's 3rd and 1, Baltimore's first possession. Cowboys haven't had the ball yet. Here's Dilfer dropping. Dilfer, Shannon Sharpe, first down.
Yeah, that's the thing that we were talking about just a minute ago, that, Trent Dilfer has a lot of confidence, and he has a lot of confidence in Shannon Sharpe. And I think that he knows, in fact, he was telling us yesterday, the thing about Shannon Sharpe is not only does he get open, but he gets open right when you need him to get open. There are guys that get open before you're ready to throw. There are guys that are open after you throw. But that guy that can get open just as you want to throw is the guy you're looking for, and that's Shannon Sharpe.
Sharpe has that field. That's Jamal Lewis. Outside the 40, about the 42.
This guy's an impressive back, isn't he? I mean, he has the whole package. He's big. He weighs 235 pounds, and that's really kind of fullback size. But he has the moves of a halfback, and I mean, he has very good feet and he has very good speed. And he's a rookie this year, and eventually he's going to be a top back in this league. Jamal Lewis is. 2nd and 2. Baltimore trying for their second first down, and Lewis will get it and more. Izell Reese had to come up with an assist from Ryan McNeil to bring him down, and that's not a good sign. And most of the time when they run, they're going to run right behind this guy, Jonathan Ogden, one of the best offensive linemen in all of football. I mean, he is so big and so strong. He not only blocks his guy, he just blots him out. And if you can't run in a hole behind Jonathan Ogden, you can't run in a hole.
He's got some wingspan. 1st and 10 at the Dallas 47. Lewis again, and Lewis again breaks into the secondary. And Darren Woodson. The Eagles continue their winning ways and improve their record to 8-4 as they beat Arizona convincingly. Those of you who watched that game, welcome to Baltimore. Dallas and the Baltimore Ravens tied at no score yet, but Baltimore with a pretty good looking drive. 2nd and 3.
The left guard there is Edwin Mulatalo, and the two of them right here, these two guys there, make up a heck of a blocking combination. Most of the Ravens runs will be to that side.
Dilfer looks that way, going deep. Somehow Ismail came down with it, and it's a Baltimore score. I didn't see the ball. It's good coverage, but the ball got through.
Yeah, it was Felipe Sparks. You see Felipe Sparks is on him. It's man-to-man coverage. He starts to go deep. Now Quadri Ismail gets to his outside, and the ball is just thrown right over Felipe Sparks' outside shoulder. That's a perfect throw by Trent Dilfer. And you talk about concentration, what a wide receiver has to do. Watch Quadri Ismail. He sees that ball, and he gets both hands up there right over Felipe Sparks' shoulder.
You can't cover much better than that.
And you can't throw much better than that, and I know you can't catch any better than that.
Isn't that the truth? I've often heard, and I'm sure you have, there's no defense for a perfect throw and a perfect catch. And that's a good example.
There was no defense in right there. Look at Trent Dilfer. He knows that. And the first guy you go up to is you go up to your offensive lineman and you thank them for the time they gave you. Because they not only gave him time, but you know what the Ravens did on this drive? Is they started establishing the line of scrimmage with the running game. And they ran and they ran.
Welcome to those of you who saw the Detroit Lions win their second in a row over the New York Giants 31-21. Here's another look at the touchdown. Welcome to the first score of the game.
Welcome to a great catch by number 87, Quadre Ismail. I think we overuse that word, concentration.
Yeah.
But what Quadre Ismail just did there is a definition of concentration.
I think we overuse the word great too, but that was a great catch.
Yeah. And again, I was saying how it all started to me. I always go back to that offensive line that through the run and the pass protection, they started dominating the line of scrimmage.
And that set the whole thing up. Matt Stover back to kick off for the Ravens. Jason Tucker, number 87, back deep for the Cowboys. Tucker at the 6. Out to the 27, but knocked back to the 25 by Anthony Davis.
Well, that'll knock him up, open up the old locker. Brian Billick was saying yesterday that this is a game of explosions. And that was it. I mean, he went for it. He ran, went, and then boom, he went for an explosion and got it. And then he just got another explosion right there in that kickoff coverage. They played down in Tennessee. In fact, they beat the Titans down there last week. And the crowd down there was great for the Titans. And Brian Billick was saying he wants the same thing today in Baltimore that they got last week in Tennessee.
And he's asking for it, and so is the rest of his team. Jackie Harris. Aikman back to throw, drops it out to Thomas. And the fullback is dragged down in the flat by Sharper. Here's the Dallas offense. Up front, it's Adams, Allen, Stepnoski, Page, and Eric Williams. Some doubt about whether Page would make it or not. Tucker, Emmitt Smith, Robert Thomas, David LaFleur, the tight end, and James McKnight, who's really come on.
Flozell Adams is going to have his work cut out with him. For him over there on that left side with Michael McCrary, number 99. This guy right here is a heck of a pass rusher.
Aikman starts the man in motion. Hands to Emmitt Smith, and there is nothing there. Siragusa was the first man to make contact. Let's look at the defense.
They're still playing there. There's still some football to be played down in there.
Wayne McGarity looks out of place in there, doesn't he? Here's the Baltimore defensive line, McCrary, whom John just mentioned, Siragusa, who just made the tackle, Adams and Burnett. Three outstanding linebackers, Sharper, Lewis, and Peter Boulware. McAllister and Starks the corners, Woodson and Herring the safety. 3rd and 6. Passing down for Aikman. Let's see if the Ravens blitz. They do it mostly with the front 4, and Aikman gets it out of there. Bounces off the hands of Chris Warren, and the Cowboys will have to punt.
That's perfect Raven defense. They're so tough against the run, and they're very tough inside. I mean, they have that triangle inside. They have Siragusa in there, Sam Adams, who's playing great, Ray Lewis in there. They don't give anything in there in the middle. You try and run. Then they get you in 3rd and long, give you the heavy pass rush, good tackling, swarmed everything.
Barry Cantrell back to punt, number 10. Jermaine Lewis. It's the first punt of his NFL career. Off the side of his foot. Lewis dancing and finds some daylight. Dragged down by Izell Reese. 7-0 the Ravens lead. 9:28 left in the first. And they look impressive so far.
Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
You would have needed that many arms to cover Quadri Ishmael, wouldn't you? Dilfer's pass is caught by Priest Holmes out of the backfield.
You know, didn't Trent Dilfer seem like a different guy yesterday? And you know, we had seen him all those years down at Tampa Bay, and it was always like something bad was going to happen to him right around the corner. And and yesterday you just had a feeling of true confidence, and he seems a heck of a lot more comfortable doing what he's doing here.
Got a much better supporting cast, I think, than he ever had on offense in Tampa. Jamal Lewis, a flag on the play.
I know there's going to be a flag down there, but did you see Jonathan Ogden? I mean, he is so big. He's like 6'8", 340 pounds, and he kind of pulled. Watch him. You're going to see him right here, number 75. But just watch how he pulls. And when he gets on a guy right there and then starts going up the field, I mean, guys just go to the ground.
Yep.
5-yard penalty. Result of the play.
I was watching him at practice yesterday, looking at him. He's so big.
I know. That's what I said. I mean the guy's 6'8", 340 pounds, and he's not a fat guy. And guys just tumble down. The penalty was right there, number 47, Ryan McNeil, for a face mask at the end of the play. But I mean, that left side of this offensive line is impressive.
Here he is again, behind Ogden. Brandon Noble made the stop. Jack Del Rio. Tampa Bay lost to the Bears. All-Star Lynch went out with injuries. Detroit beat the Giants 31-21. Charlie Batch 3 touchdown passes. The Raiders beat New Orleans 31-22. Jeff Blake fractured and dislocated his right foot. He's out for the rest of the year. 2nd and 7. Dilfer moves Sharpe. Splits him out a little. Lewis again.
They're working that left side, aren't they?
Are they ever?
And you say you would. I mean, the other guy that I was talking about, Edwin Mulatalo, he's a left guard here. He's only a second-year guy, but he's 340 pounds too. So you got like 680 pounds a guy blocking over here. So where are you going to run? I mean, they are dominating that side. I know it's just early in the first quarter, but everything they're doing is running left behind these two guys. Look at this. 5 times for 44 yards already.
Lewis straight ahead this time into the secondary and brought down finally. Izell Reese and Greg Myers brought him down.
Cowboys are going to have to get Darren Woodson. I mean, the only answer that I can see is put Darren Woodson up on their right side, the offensive left side, to help out there. I mean, he's the only guy that can help out because they're just getting manhandled right here.
Then if you do that, your corners go man on man, and
I'd let my corners go man on man. I mean, they gotta stop the stuff that's going on right here.
Priest Holmes is the deep back this time. And they go the other way for a change, but cut it back this way.
They come right back.
Yeah.
Jamal Lewis knows because we were talking about the guy that is big and strong, and this is what it looks like from the umpire cam. And we see that Priest Holmes is going to start to his right and then cut right back to this side. You try and get in again behind Jonathan Ogden.
2nd and 5. Fake a reverse. They give it to Priest Holmes again.
You just can't keep your eyes off of Jonathan Ogden.
That's right.
I don't mean to say when he fires out again, the 6'8", he just knocks his guy, who's Greg Ellis. I mean, he just knocks him right off the line. And then there has to be a soft spot as you start there.
Does he have any pads on?
I don't know, but just watch him right here. I mean, just the first thing that he hits, stuff just flies backwards. Watch. I mean, he hits him and he goes like 3 or 4 yards backwards.
Jamal Lewis back in the game. 3rd and 3. Dilfer's going to throw it. Batted away. Deflected. Incomplete.
That's what the Cowboys needed. They needed just any kind of play. Up here they got a bat, and now they're going to have to go for a field goal. But they needed something because they hadn't been able to stop anything. And here that's Alonzo Spellman. See what they tried to do? They tried to cut him on the line of scrimmage. And they're trying to throw the slant to that side. Now Alonzo Spellman knows after you come out of the cut, you go down, and the next thing you do is you go up.
Matt Stover for field goals. If the Cowboys get out of this with just a field goal, it's a moral victory. 25 yards away, and it's 10-0. Baltimore leads. 5:06 left in the first quarter. Baltimore 10, Dallas nothing. I didn't know you owned the Ravens.
I'll tell you, after those first 2 drives, I wouldn't mind having a hook in this thing.
I did, yeah.
And after coming into this stadium and then seeing this team and these fans and stuff, maybe I'll talk to Art Modell about that after the game.
Mr. Modell came up to say hello before the game started. This is Jason Tucker.
Art Modell, one of the pioneers.
Great man. 10-0. The Ravens lead the Cowboys. Here's Art Modell on the left, just handing the napkin to his acquaintance.
Well, that guy there's the guy we set up to see if we can get a piece of the team.
Yeah.
But look at this. Art Modell is everywhere. We see him up in the booth. Now we go down to the sideline, and Art Modell.
Somebody's calling him.
Someone's calling him down there to the sideline.
Hey.
Art's waving to as many fans around the world.
2 tight ends set up for Dallas. And here's Aikman back to throw, and up the middle, Tucker. Close to a first. Rod Woodson made the stop. And
that's the thing we were talking about. You know, that it's not going to be easy running in there. In fact, so far, the Ravens have run for 71 yards. The Cowboys have -2.
That's one of the reasons it's not so easy running.
The Goose in there, and then Ray Lewis behind him and Sam Adams next to him. But they have to be able to pass the ball because they're going to have a tough time with this triangle right in the middle.
McKnight wide to the left. The handoff is to Emmitt Smith, who cuts around the corner. And right now for a game break, let's go to Los Angeles and James Brown.
Hey, Pat and John, questionable whether Eddie George is going to play today. Guess what? 3 touchdowns on the day. Here's one of them. And despite 7 turnovers by Tennessee, they go on to beat Cleveland 24-10. Pat, as I throw it back to you, I'm sorry I can't say like Terry Bradshaw last week. I'm not a neighbor, but I love you too, buddy.
Wow. That's long distance, but that's nice.
Yeah, you see that Eddie George scoring the 3 touchdowns today. Last week he didn't do anything against this Raven defense, and great backs usually don't have bad games back to back.
Emmitt Smith again up to the 40, stopped by Kim Herring, the safety man.
Yeah, but he was also stopped by Ray Lewis. You know, we were talking about that triangle, you know, where you have the 2 tackles here and the middle linebacker, and they're going to stuff everything in here. You see, they just take that middle. Siragusa takes the double team. Sam Adams takes on a guy. In fact, what they say they do is they eat up blockers. These 2 guys, here's the triangle right here. These 2 tackles and the middle linebacker right there, they form that triangle in the middle, and it's darn near impossible to run in there.
3 wide receivers for the Cowboys, and Aikman drops. With time, he drops it over to Chris Warren, who doesn't quite get the first down. Just a little bit short is Ray Lewis. And you don't move it that way very far when you're hit by Ray Lewis.
And Ray Lewis is a heck of a tackle. You know, and he says the thing that you do is you just concentrate and you just square up and you just look at their belly button and run right through them. And watch him do that to Chris Warren right there. I mean, the minute that he hits him, boom, he has not taken one more step forward.
Jermaine Lewis Back deep for the Ravens. Barry Cantrell to punt for Dallas.
And that's another one of the reasons that the Ravens are #1 on defense, is that they're all very good tacklers.
Yep, they sure are. Cantrell's kick is high. Fair catch signal forward made at about the 17-yard line, where the Ravens will take over. 1:55 left in the first. Ravens on top of the Cowboys by 10.
Hello. Different car lines, the L Series and S Series. By Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Vertical Limit, a new film from Columbia Pictures, opens everywhere December 8th. And by the Insider Pizza from Pizza Hut, another one of the best pizzas under one roof.
Where I just circled there, on those billboards, that was where Babe Ruth was born. This is a room.
Was Babe born in that room?
Yeah, he was born right there in that room.
The old sewing machine over in the corner.
Yep, and they kind of made a museum out of it now. In fact, we took some pictures there yesterday, and they found Super Bowl V, the Super Bowl trophy of the Baltimore Colts from Super Bowl V was down in the basement.
Dilfer gets it to Jamal Lewis. You know, you can argue about who's the best athlete of all time. Go ahead, John.
There's the building again. Yeah. No, I was just saying, and that's the door. It was in that door. You know, you go up the little stoop there, and that's where Babe Ruth was born.
And down in the basement, that's the trophy the Colts won, Baltimore Colts, in Super Bowl V when they beat the Cowboys. Jim O'Brien, remember that name?
Yes, I do. Yeah, he kicked the field goal to win the game.
Yep. There's Lewis again. He's not only big but fast, and a flag comes in. That's going to be about the only way it looks like they're going to stop him from running left.
From running to that side, and as you say, the key thing with Jamal Lewis is he is big and he is fast and he is quick. He was the 5th player taken in the draft, and some people thought that maybe that was a little too high for him.
83 offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Patrick Johnson, the guilty party.
Yeah, you see, he's a wide receiver blocking out here. It's not a bad block here for a wide receiver, but watch the way this line moves here. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, they all move in unison, and boom, and they're all big guys and they're all strong guys. And when they make contact, all the other guys fall down.
All of a sudden,
it's like Rosie Posey.
Rosie Posey.
Pocket full of Posey.
All fall down. Yeah, I remember that. That's Jason Priest Holmes. I'm sorry.
They're just whipping him there. You know, I was talking about Edwin Mulatalo. He went to my high school, and he's a home guy. I mean, he weighs 340 pounds, and he's only in his 2nd year here, but he is a big, strong, powerful guy. And he just gets his left shoulder, and those guys just go right down.
When we found out he went to Daly City High School, I knew he was going to get a lot of airtime.
Right, a lot of airtime. He's going to be on the All-Madden team too.
Here's Lewis again. They move the whole stack backwards.
Because he not only went to Jefferson High School in Daly City, but he was the student body president there. I just went there.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score of the Ravens 10, the Cowboys nothing. Fox NFL Sunday from Baltimore will continue after these messages.
Honey?
Area high school coaches who've just been honored. And high school coaches have a great influence on the youth that they're associated with.
And a great influence on all these players that played here. They all started someplace, and it's usually in high school, and I don't think that we give back enough to our high school.
Trent
Dilfer. Great that they're honoring them here.
Dilfer lofts it down the side, and it's caught but out of bounds. Priest Holmes came down with it out of bounds. Dilfer had all kinds of time.
Well, you know, I think we talked about the domination. I mean, the first quarter, the offensive line of the Ravens just dominated that line of scrimmage. And then once you get the line of scrimmage dominated, that means that you're also going to be able to pass protect. and he had all that time, and you just see Priest Holmes caught that ball. He was out of bounds, but as you said, he had plenty of time to throw it.
3rd and 1. Alonzo Spellman jumped into the backfield, pointing at the offensive lineman in front of him, saying he jumped.
False start.
And he did jump.
71 offense. 5-yard penalty. Range 3rd down.
Falau.
Spencer Falau, he's starting there at that right tackle for Harry Swain. Remember,
yeah.
Harry Swain pulled a hamstring last week, and he's not active today. Falau's playing that right tackle, which is the away side from where they've been running all day today.
3-man front for Dallas as Dilfer goes back. The blitz is on. The pass is complete to Shannon Sharpe. And they pick up the 1st down in Dallas territory all the way to the 43.
Yeah, and Trent Dilfer feels real good about this one because as you said, the blitz is on and you watch it. He's going to get the pressure here. And here's the guy that he's going to look for, Shannon Sharpe. He feels the pressure. They do a good job of picking up the blitz. He knows that there can't be anyone underneath in the middle, so he could just look. And the first thing he sees is number 82, and boom, he goes right there to him.
82, Shannon Sharpe put a heck of a move on Darren Woodson.
Shannon Sharpe, over an 11-year career, has put a heck of a move on a lot of guys.
He just did it again. Here's Dilfer. Lewis again. Couldn't find room on the left. Tried the right. Didn't find any more room over there.
Well, they're finally getting it plugged up over there a little. That was the first time that there were any white jerseys left on or around the line of scrimmage when the ball got there. The big thing you see, that they're doing stuff like this now. I mean, they're getting the blitzes, they're getting guys in there because they couldn't just sit back there. I mean, they can't sit in there in their standard defense. They're just getting blown out.
They did what you said. They had Darren Woodson come up with support quickly. Lewis hit by Darren Hambrick first.
Darren Hambrick better just get back in the huddle and be quiet. I mean, they haven't been doing that well on defense.
Don't want to get them riled up.
And you'll see the protection in here in the middle of the line. See, they just keep everyone away from Trent Dilfer, and then just give him a clean pocket. That's what a quarterback is looking for, is a clean pocket where he can step up with his left foot and step either forward or to either side and have a clean footing.
Shannon Sharpe's the man on the move. Dilfer drops. Here comes the rush, and the screen pass is complete to Jamal Lewis. Right now, let's send you back to Los Angeles and James Brown for a game break.
Pat and John, take a look at Allen Rossum on this kickoff return for the Green Bay Packers. This taking place in the 4th quarter, giving Green Bay the winning score as Green Bay holds on to upend Indy by the score of 26-24. Let's take it back to Pat and John.
As a must-win for the Packers. This is a must-win for Dallas if they hope to be around for playoff time. High kick. Garrity back to make the fair catch and makes it at the 10. .57 left to play in the first half. It's 10-0. Trent Dilfer banged his right hand on a helmet.
Yeah, you can see it's a hand right here of Greg Ellis. You see as his hand goes through, Greg Ellis's right hand comes up, and they meet just as Trent Dilfer lets the ball go.
1st and 10 at the 10. Emmitt Smith to the 14.
That Siragusa's a funny guy, isn't he? He's a fun guy and a funny guy and a good player. And we're talking about guys who, we just throw around weights like 340 and it means nothing anymore, but he's a 340-pound defensive tackle, and like underneath those shoulder pads in that jersey, what do you think he wears?
I have no idea.
Well, it's a T-shirt, but what kind of T-shirt you think a big old goose would wear?
A big one. Almost picked off, intended for McKnight.
I'll show you what it is. I saw it in the pregame warm-up. Look at him. This is the way a big 340-pound guy comes downstairs.
Sideways like that?
Yeah. Mickey Mouse T-shirt. He was out in the field. It was real cold before the pregame warm-up. He was out there for 2.5 minutes.
He's listed at 340. I think that's a very, very conservative estimate.
There's my man, the goose, going right back in.
3rd and 5. McGarity in motion. Aikman back to throw it. McKnight had it and lost it. Dwayne Starks.
Well, the Cowboys just can't get anything going offensively, but one thing, for Cowboy fans to know is that the Ravens don't score a heck of a lot of points, and they aren't letting them stand in there, and they'll do that.
That's good defensive play by Starks. He got his hand in there and knocked the ball away.
Right at the end, yeah. But you just play, and with the way they call pass interference today, that's a very delicate thing.
It sure is.
Just did.
And Trell to punt it again. Jermaine Lewis. Good coverage. The Ravens will start near midfield.
For what only Porsche brings to driving. By the Wall Street Journal and WSJ.com. Adventures in Capitalism. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. And by Texaco, a world of energy.
Baltimore 10, Dallas nothing. This, of course, is where the Star Spangled Banner was written by Francis Scott Key. Dilfer drops. Gets away and runs. Hit as he went out of bounds, knocked the ball loose by Ecubon.
They're starting to get a little. If I were Ecubon, I would just get back in the huddle. I mean, you guys haven't done anything yet to get all pumped up about yourselves. That's one thing that I love football and I love emotion and passion and playing hard and all that stuff. But chesting and jousting when you're down 10-0 doesn't do it for me.
Especially not when you're in front of the opponent's bench.
No, and if you're over here, take on this guy. If you want to do some, whipping, whip up right here. Let's see what you do now. That's the important thing. Now's the important time to do it.
Here comes Lewis, breaking into the secondary and wrestled down by Isaiah Reese again.
Now there's a great one, Johnny Unitas, huh?
The great John Unitas.
The fans see him. The fans love him here in Baltimore.
He has never looked, to me, quite right since he doesn't have a crew cut.
Yep, the crew cut and the black high top
shoes.
Rich Dalrymple was telling me, the Dallas PR guy was telling me a story about Johnny Unitas, who's always been his hero. In fact, his dad played with him. Rich's dad played with Johnny Unitas, and he said
in high school.
Right, it was in some semi-pro thing after high school too. But he said they were in the locker room. There was a story about the Colts are in the locker room. They're getting ready for a big game, and so they're going to have the captain's talk. So they have the captain talk, and the defensive captain, he talks first. He's going, yeah, we got to go get him. We got to get in. And Johnny Unitas leaning up against the door, and they say, okay, Johnny, what do you have to say? And he said, talk's cheap. Let's go play. That's Johnny Unitas.
DJ's with John Unitas right now. Let's go down to DJ.
That's right, Pat. I'm with the legend himself. And Johnny, big Ravens fan, I assume. What do the Ravens have to do you think to get to the playoffs?
Well, they got to win them all. They've got a fairly easy schedule. Cleveland next week and Arizona, I think, after that. And I think the last game's with the Jets, and I think that's probably going to be their toughest game. But they have the capability getting that far, I think.
But being a master of the offense yourself, what do you think was happening to the Ravens when they went through that offensive drought?
God only knows. I don't know what was going through their mind. They just weren't doing the things that they're probably capable of doing. And things happen like that. You can start to worry about them, and they just, one thing happens, another thing happens, those kind of things. You just have to keep working on it and play through it.
If that happens again, they might have to suit you up. Appreciate it. Thanks.
I hope not.
Back to you, Pat.
Johnny Unitas
says, talks cheap, just go play.
He was the most unpredictable quarterback I think I've ever been around.
Watch Sam Gash point here. See, he's the fullback. He's telling Jamal Lewis where to run. And he pointed to the side that he's going to want you to run to that side because that's the side that he's going to lead to. You know, and sometimes he'll get up there and he'll just say, check with me. You know, the play call in the huddle is check with me. And then they go up there and they read the defense and they decide which side to go to.
Woodson left the field for Dallas. Place is taken by Greg Myers. McNeil came down with the ball intended for Ismail, but incomplete. I started to say Unitas was, you talk about, coaches talk about tendencies, and then 3rd and 2 they'll do this, and 2nd and long they always do this. There was no book on him. You had no idea.
And he was the definition of a true field general because that was back in the day where the quarterback not only did all the playing like they do today, but also called the play.
Right. 2nd and 10. This is Priest Holmes. For a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, fellas, in a dogfight between two squads with only 2 victories, in the closing seconds, it was Adam Vinatieri coming up with his 22-yard field goal to boot New England to victory by 3 over Cincinnati. Back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Patriots improved to 3-8. Pepe Zellner is the injured Dallas player.
Yeah, you can see him right there, number 93. See, he's playing his guy, and then it's his right leg gets caught up under the pile. That's where so many injuries happen. You know, where you're in front of something, and then the pile rolls up behind you. There's nothing you can do about that. And then remember Darren Woodson. He's right there, and you're going to see him come up here to tackle Jamal Lewis, and he went right down there and he grabbed his right side.
Here's Dilfer in from behind. Dilfer is caught by Demetrius Underwood.
I was talking to Andre Patterson, the defensive line coach, the defensive tackle coach of the Cowboys, and he was saying that Demetrius Underwood was going to play more today. And he said, watch him. He said, because he's going to be something special. He said that he has strength, he has quickness, and we moved him from outside as an end to inside as a tackle. He hasn't played in a long time, but he thinks he can make some plays.
Really hasn't played football since 1997.
Yeah, on a regular basis.
Darren Woodson is being taken into the locker room for x-rays on his right forearm, which obviously injured while making that tackle a moment ago. Baltimore 10, Dallas nothing. 9:05 left in the first half. Pat Summerall, John Madden.
Dallas has only had 10 plays so far on offense and only gained 29 yards.
Aikman with pressure. Intended for James McKnight tonight on a new episode of the X-Files. Agent Scully and her new partner confront a creature so terrifying their first case together could be their last one. Catch the X-Files tonight at 9/8 Central on Fox.
Dave Campos thinking, what do we have to do? I mean, he's trying to run, and Emmitt Smith has carried 4 times for 8 yards. There's nothing there. Their longest play has been an 11-yard pass, and they just tried to go deep.
That was their only first down. Here's Aikman. Pass caught by McGarity. And that's their second first down.
Yeah, we look at Darren Woodson again, and the injury is to his right arm. He's going up there. He misses the tackle here, and Jamal Lewis, and you see it hit right there.
Just below the knee.
Yep. It was on that initial hit, I would say. And as you said, they took him in, and they're x-raying the right arm.
First and 10 Dallas. This is Emmitt Smith. And Emmett gets about 4.
They know that Emmett's going to cut back, and that's what he does so well. Usually he starts to the right and cuts back to the left. That time he started to the left and cut back to the right, and that's the first little air that Emmitt Smith has seen today.
2nd and 7. Jackie Harris just checked in. Eric Williams motioning in the other direction.
Jackie Harris right here, the pass receiving tight end for the Cowboys.
Here's Aikman back to throw it. Here comes somebody after him. Gets rid of it through the hands of Emmitt Smith.
And you're right. I think that did go right through the hands of him. I mean, watch this. Troy Aikman throws that ball out there to Emmitt Smith. Right through the hands, huh? You know, Emmitt Smith didn't have a good game last week. And in fact, he had a bad game. And most great running backs, and I said this earlier about Eddie George too, most great running backs don't have back-to-back bad games.
Tucker comes in motion. Here's the blitz. They pick it up pretty well. And Aikman guns it to McKnight. And the Cowboys creep close to midfield.
And if Troy Aikman has a go-to guy anymore, it is McKnight. And you're going to see McKnight, he's right here. And you just watch, he's just going to come up, he gets bumped, and then he keeps working. That's a heck of a throw by Troy Aikman.
Yeah, it sure is.
Because McKnight was bumped all the way up the field, and he just turned around to go back inside, and the ball was stuck right on him.
Caught it in self-defense almost.
That's what they say, a quarterback can stick him, and Troy Aikman stuck McKnight.
They're blitzing again. Aikman gets it out. Pass complete and the flag on the play. This is McKnight again.
Ooh, and that's not the kind of hit that Aikman could take either.
He was slow getting up.
And that's looked a lot like the Tony Bracken's hit. That was Ray Lewis on him. And he gave him the same kind of hit that Tony Bracken's did that injured his back.
I'm not sure what this penalty is.
Contact, 22 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He motioned against Dallas first. There's the hit.
Yep, that hit. It was the same type of hit that got him before. And here's the penalty. That's on Dwayne Starks, number 22. He just grabs and holds there. Now, if the ball were in the air, it'd be pass interference. If the ball's not in the air, it's holding. And again, watch Ray Lewis come in here and unload on Troy Aikman just as he throws the ball.
A good throw under pressure. And I mean pressure.
You know, we talked to Troy Aikman yesterday, and he said his back was feeling better. It didn't look real good, though, but he didn't get a shot for this game. Last week he had the shots to play, and he felt well enough on Monday and Tuesday that he didn't get any shots this week.
1st and 10 at the Baltimore 35. Aikman drops. Has time. Gets it to Thomas. No gain.
Now, those are the passes that almost aren't worth throwing, are they? When you, I don't know how you draw up a pattern where a guy runs for no yards. Somewhere that
it's a waste of time.
He has to get some depth. They haven't sacked Troy Aikman yet. They've hit him 3 times. A big one being that last one by Ray Lewis, and he's been hurried 2 times. But one thing, this offensive line of the Cowboys isn't doing a bad job of pass protection.
When they get to Aikman, it's by blitz. And here comes a blitz again. Aikman has some time, and the pass is caught by McGarity.
Aikman is still one of the most accurate quarterbacks in football. You know, people say that he ought to do this, he ought to retire, he has the concussions, he has the back, but if he's feeling well, I mean, he can still zing that ball and put it on a guy as well as anyone.
Give him time, and he'll cut you to pieces. Protection in the last 2 or 3 games has been improving.
And you see that thing in the back of Troy Aikman's jersey, that's dirt there? That's one sight you don't need on number 8. Mud on the back of his jersey.
Eric Williams retreated early. Flag on the play.
prior to the snap. False start. 79 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
That was what Dave Camper was saying last night. We don't need any stupid penalties. And what you try and do is you try and give a hard count to help your offensive lineman. You give a hard count, and then your own offensive lineman jumps.
And he said you'll only see it once if we do it.
He said if we jump on a hard count, we're not going to do any more hard counts.
Siragusa over on the sideline.
Yeah, Siragusa only plays the run. The Goose isn't a big pass rusher. He only plays run defense and then lets those other guys go in there and tee off on the passer.
Boulware chases Aikman out of the pocket, and down he goes.
I thought he had time there to throw the ball. He felt some pressure from the left side that really wasn't there yet. Watch him go back, and he's going to feel pressure from here. Watch him look. He's going to look back right there. And
Sam Adams.
And somewhere I think he could have thrown that ball. See if we just get it now. He's ready. And you see, this is when he's ready to throw. This is what he's looking at, and he doesn't see anyone open.
And the Cowboys, with about 8 yards to go, are going for it on fourth down. Aikman doesn't like the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. Pass is incomplete. Intended for McGarity. Picked off. Intercepted by Rod Woodson. He had never intercepted Aikman before in his career.
Yeah, Rod Woodson has so many interceptions against so many quarterbacks, and he gets his first one against Troy Aikman on a fourth down pass.
It's 10-0. Rod Woodson, standing in the back of that picture, has intercepted 34 different quarterbacks, and that was his first off Aikman. The cornerback for the Steelers for a long time. Then were the Raiders. Now here is the safety man.
And that was his 58th career interception.
Lewis. He is big and strong, no question about that. Right now, let's go down to D.J. Johnson.
Yeah, Pat, I talked to Rod last night about not having intercepted Aikman so far. I was a teammate of Rod's for a long time, so I was there for a lot of his 58 interceptions. I asked him about having not intercepted Troy. He said, hey, my time is ticking down. He's very jokingly about it. He said, my time is ticking down. Have to get Troy sometime soon. No better time than today. Rod got his. Now he goes for another one. Back to you, Pat.
All right, DJ, thank you. The handoff is to Lewis.
I still go back to that fourth down play, and I mean, it's fourth down, and if you're going to throw a pass, you have to throw it beyond the first down mark. I mean, I still believe that.
That's logical.
If you decide to go for it on fourth down, throw it to someone that if they catch it, it's going to be a first down. I mean, he throws it to someone that if they catch it isn't going to be a first down and it's intercepted. And to go for that, they turned down a 50-yard field goal. I could see that. I mean, I could see going for it on fourth down, but I couldn't see throwing it to the shortcut. I mean, if you're going to force something in on fourth down, force it at least deeper.
3rd and 1. Lewis going to have the first. This Thanksgiving, it's a Fox NFL special as the NFC Central leading Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys square off in their holiday tradition. All begins with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. When you get into Dallas for the festivities?
I'll leave tonight right after the game. We got the bus out there all fired up.
Got turkey on it?
Well, no, we're working on the turkeys. We're working on the turkeys and getting them worked up, but we'll have them when we get down to Dallas. We get down to Dallas on Monday.
It's a pretty quick trip.
Then we got some carving and chopping and stuff to do.
Dilfer on the sets it. Shannon Sharpe. One man to beat. And Sharpe is scoring a touchdown for the Ravens.
Bursting in air.
Sharpe.
And this is what Trent Dilfer sees. He has pretty good protection. He feels a little pressure there, and he's looking up the middle. Now he knows it. That the Cowboys like that two deep defense where the safety's deep, and the area to throw it is in the middle.
Dilfer to Sharpe, and it's 17-0 with just over 2 left in the first half.
Yeah, if we watch that touchdown again, here's Shannon Sharpe here. Now what they do is they put both tight ends deep, then they put the pressure on this safety. He looks this way, and Dilfer throws it right here to Shannon Sharpe. Watch as they both come off, and you can see they're both deep. On the side, they split the safety, and Trent Dilfer throws a perfect pass to Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is a heck of a receiving tight end.
He really is.
He's one of the best that's ever played.
Jason Tucker. Tucker weaves his way out to the 35. I'm glad you said receiving tight end because he's not big on blocking.
Yeah, but he can do it. He can catch the short, the medium, and the deep.
Yep. Heck of a player. Short game. Fred Couples, Lee Trevino, Nancy Lopez, Roger Clemens, and some of the world's top sharpshooters from the PGA, the LPGA, and Senior Tour trying to find the cup for $1 million payday. The Sun Microsystems Par 3 Challenge, Thanksgiving Day at 1:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, here on Fox. That's a fun event.
I say Lee Trevino. Does he still have a good short game?
Yes. Yes, he does. Chris Warren. Ball is there. Just got information that the X-ray machine here at the stadium apparently is not functioning, so they've taken Darren Woodson to the hospital for a look at his what appeared to be his right forearm.
Right, and I would think that, you know, the doctors just looking at what it is would have to think that there's really something there to take him to the hospital.
Here's Aikman. Chased, and Warren makes the catch this time, and down he goes. Look at the Ravens converge around that ball.
And that's the thing that they do. I mean, they not only tackle well individually, as we just saw there, but they swarm. I mean, there's always going to be, if you look on every white jersey, there's always going to be about 4 or 5 Raven jerseys.
This is a Baltimore timeout. Dallas Cowboys, in fairness, have had a lot of injuries. The injured starters include Joey Galloway in the opening game, Ishmael, Chad Hennings, George Teague, Leon Lett, Micah Noor, the punter, and now Darren Woodson. He is, well, he's a guy you almost can't replace, Darren Woodson.
Well, he's their best player, and he's the guy that plays the most plays. And you know, last time we did a Cowboy game, we were talking about that I don't know if they've ever done this, but if you counted up the number of plays that any player plays, I bet no one plays more than Darren Woodson because he's in on all the defensive plays plus half the special teams play.
Right.
He's on the field more than anyone.
3-man rush. Aikman has some time. Gets it to McKnight. The Ravens have not missed a tackle so far today, and that's something we've often said is missing from pro football today. Good tackling.
Hey, what do you put?
Trail back in punt formation for the Cowboys. Jermaine Lewis deep for the Ravens. Short kick, fair catch. Ravens will take over to 21. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league. And our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats, all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
And Terry Bradshaw could really be fired up about Trent Dilfer because this morning he did a report on him, he did a feature on him, and then said that he's his favorite player, the only player that he really likes in football, and that he could throw the deep ball. And in the first half here, Trent Dilfer's thrown for 2 long touchdown passes.
And he drops again and throws up the middle. Caprice Holmes.
Old Terry will be sitting there at halftime telling all those other guys, I told you guys.
I told you.
I told you so. What did I tell you guys? Huh?
Clock just over a minute. Dilfer drops the throw. Has time and drops it out to Priest Holmes again. Holmes taken down.
I'll tell you, that Priest Holmes and Jamal Lewis are a heck of a combination.
They really are, aren't they?
They and that offensive line have been doing a heck of a job by this Cowboy defense.
Timeout taken by Baltimore.
This is T.
17, Dallas nothing, 2nd and 2, and the Ravens trying for more.
The Cowboys are in a form of prevent here.
Dilfer has time and fires deep, and the pass is picked off. That's Felipe Sparks. Sparks gets out to the 40, and the Cowboys will take over that.
And that's a tough pass to throw into a prevent. Everyone says the prevent, the only thing it prevents you from winning, but sometimes it does work. And that time they were all back there. Felipe Sparks could see the whole play. Trent Dilfer threw right into it. But you see how Felipe Sparks is back there? They almost have the thing double, and you can't throw that pass into that pass coverage.
Now, if you're Dallas, what's your approach?
I would, yeah, you got to get something on the board. I mean, the first thing I would think of is to try and pick up, a couple 10 yards and 10 yards, because they still have all their timeouts.
At least get a field goal.
And then get in field goal position. That would be my first goal, get in field goal position.
Aikman outside quickly. That's McGarity, gets away from one tackler. That might be the first missed tackle.
That's the first missed tackle, and it was Rod Woodson who missed it. Rod Woodson who got the interception. And the Baltimore Ravens defense that hadn't missed a tackle yet this first half was just missed right there by Rod Woodson.
McGarity didn't quite get the first down in spite of the missed tackle. 2nd and 1. He just hasn't got time to throw anything deep. Aikman dumps it. Chris Warren, and Warren, another missed tackle.
Right, and they're close to a field goal position right now, because if they're at the 35-yard line, right now it would be a 52-yard field goal.
Timeout, Dallas coming up on the Visa halftime report. Again, a reminder, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
And that's why you like to save your timeouts. You hate to waste a timeout early in the game or in the third quarter of a second half, because you need them for this type of situation here. And now, because the Cowboys still have 2 of their timeouts, they can pass the shorter pass. They can throw the ball in the middle and use their timeouts. If they didn't have any timeouts, then they'd have to try and get a first down, spike the ball, get the ball out of bounds, those kinds of things.
Tim Cedar, who scored the touchdown against Cincinnati last week, with a new holder. Cantrell will be a holder if they do get close enough to try a field goal. Here's Aikman back. McCrary brought him down. 24 seconds left.
I think they were close enough right then, because it would have been a 52-yard field goal, but they're going to lose that. McCrary is going to come from Troy Aikman's left side. Troy Aikman didn't take much of a drop there, though. I mean, he took a short drop. He tried to throw to his left, and then he had to bring the ball down, and McCrary just picked up some stuff there that shouldn't have been. This is another bad look when you see that in your quarterback's helmet. But it didn't look like he dropped very deep.
No, it didn't.
I mean, usually he'll take a 5-step drop in that situation.
That was a 3-step.
And that was a short 3-step.
Yep.
And then you take that short 3-step, and someone has to be open right now. And if they're not, you're going to be wearing some grass in the top of your helmet.
Cedar, his longest, 48 yards.
Cedar, just a month or 2 ago, was coaching high school football. Who would have thought?
He was a running back in high school, however. Here's Aikman back to throw. And throws up the middle, picked off. Intended for Jackie Harris. Corey Harris with the interception, and he is knocked down.
And now the Ravens are getting in a position where they can try a field goal.
They have one. They're out of timeouts. Dallas has one left. Aikman with the interception.
Aikman's going to come here and try and make a play there.
Larry Allen does take him down.
Well, he pantsed him.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Used to do that in grammar school, didn't you? I mean, you're walking, some guy goes behind you and pantses you, or you go behind the guy and pants him.
Yes.
Larry Allen pantsed him. But they can still get a first down here and get closer to field goal position.
Dilfer throws it outside to Sharpe and gets out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 9 seconds to go.
Yeah, this is turning into one of the real quarterback-receiver combinations. Brian Billick has a lot to do with that, but Trent Dilfer to Shannon Sharpe is a pretty good thing.
Field goal units on Matt Stover. Baltimore.
This will be a 47-yard field goal.
He can get it there. They have 10 more field goals this year than they do touchdowns. 11 more. No, it didn't get there. Straight enough, but not far enough. 3 seconds still left on the clock.
So now the Cowboys will take over at the point from the kick. The ball was on the 30-yard line, but the holder was back 7 yards. So they will take it at the 37-yard line. So it goes back to the point of the kick try, not the yard line of scrimmage. But I think that's academic anyway. Because
I think the Cowboys will just run it out.
Yeah, I would fling one down. I mean, what the heck? Oh yeah, because we know that the half can't end on a penalty, and I would just fling a jump ball down here, and if it's intercepted, so what? If it's complete, complete, so what too? But you're just hoping for a penalty.
They're going to kneel.
He is going to kneel down. You're right. So much for that.
They don't have a lot of guys that they can fling it to downfield.
Those Ravens were awfully impressive this first half. I mean, offensively, Trent Dilfer and the things that he did, Jamal Lewis running with the ball, and then on that defense just dominated.
I'll tell you something else that was very impressive in that first half was Jonathan Ogden.
That left side of that offensive line.
To DJ Johnson.
Hey, Rod, you guys played a pretty solid first half. You got a pick of Troy Aikman, set up the touchdown with Shannon Sharpe. How'd the first half go for you?
So far, so good. I mean, we're giving a couple drives, but then we're making them turn it over. 2 interceptions for us when they had some drives on us. And so far. Of
the Ravens.